We continue now with the 9th reason not to vote for Barack Obama. And for this one, well, you can thank the liberal media and their love affair with the presidential hopeful.
Senator Barack Obama has been anointed the new media darling, or rather the overhyped media darling. The liberal mainstream media has painted the Democratic presidential candidate as the Messiah, the savior, the knight in shining armor, here to fix everything that's wrong with this country. It's amazing to see such unprecedented celebrity-like coverage over a previously obscure community organizer who was only elected to the U.S. Senate a few years ago. While the mainstream media is busy swooning and fawning over Barack Obama,
he is the one. Barack Obama!
He has received less critical examination of his background and his positions than any other presidential candidate in history. When we learned about the radical views of Obama's former minister of 20 years, the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, what did the media do? Well, they gave him a pass.
And we never batted an eye.
When we learned about his association with the unrepentant terrorists William Ayers and Bernardine Dorn, in whose home he launched his political career, well, what did the media do? Well, they gave him a pass. Tony Resco, a pass. Rashid Khalidi, a pass. He attends the Million Man March with Louis Farrakhan, a pass. Well, what about all of Obama's excuses regarding all these radical associations? What did the mainstream media have to say about that? Absolutely nothing. When we learned about Obama's ties to the voter fraud-ridden organization Acorn, well, what did the media do there? You guessed it, nothing. Lack of foreign policy experience? He gets another pass. Income redistribution? Well, that's another pass. Tax increases? Well, one more pass. So how did an inexperienced junior senator who's surrounded by such controversial figures become the Democratic nominee for president? The answer is by being anointed. Senator Obama has literally been christened by the liberal, quote, mainstream media and turned into an overnight political sensation. From TV news to tabloid magazines, stories about Barack Obama, they're glowing. They talk about his meteoric political rise and the A-list celebrity status. Well, it's like a page out of a Hollywood movie script. And so how do Hollywood liberals show their support? Well, the LA Times summed it up, quote, a California gold rush for Barack Obama. This report lists the following liberal Hollywood campaign contributors. Harrison Ford and George Clooney, well, they both gave $30,800 each. Jennifer Aniston, Larry David, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington, Renee Zellweger, well, they all gave $28,500, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Since June, California and Tinseltown have given nearly $30 million, with $16 million just in the last month alone. Even though he's become the media's favorite political candidate, the reality is he hasn't accomplished much aside from being voted 2007's most liberal senator in Washington by the National Journal. Now, that's a feat that Hollywood and the media are certainly cheering about. But those of us more concerned with American values, liberty, freedom, democracy, capitalism, the future of this great nation, well, I guess we want more than just, quote, slogans of change.
Senator Joe Biden has served our great nation for over 30 years, and during that time, he's managed to say, well, many ridiculous things, and that brings us to reason number 8.
Mark my words, it will not be 6 months before the world tests Barack Obama like they did John Kennedy.
Yeah, there's Joe Biden sticking his foot in his mouth. What a surprise. That's something that has plagued his political career since he first ran for the state senate back in 1972. Now this man is in line to be your next vice president, a position he himself has said is better fit for Senator Hillary Clinton.
She's easily qualified to be vice president of the United States of America, and quite frankly, it might have been a better pick than me.
Now Senator Biden is currently the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, an important position, but he has shown himself to be on the wrong side of history many, many times. But then again, Biden is not a big fan of history.
And when the stock market crashed, Franklin Roosevelt got on television and didn't just talk about the princes of greed. He said, look, here's what happened.
Maybe all those congressional trips overseas have left him with a permanent jet lag. How else can you explain his cloudy memory when it comes to visiting some of the most important fronts in the war on terror?
You take all the troops out, you better have helicopters ready to take those 3,000 civilians inside the green zone where I've been 7 times and shot at.
But that's just not true. He wasn't shot at. 2 weeks after this debate, he corrected himself and told the Hill newspaper that it was a projectile that landed outside the hotel that he was staying in. And back on the home front, well, here's Biden just shooting himself in the foot once again.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
Senator Biden clearly lacks sensitivity, not only with his own constituency, but when asking State Senator Chuck Graham of Missouri, who's in a wheelchair, to stand up.
Chuck Graham, state senator's here. Chuck, stand up. Chuck, good to see you.
More hope, more change that you can believe in.
We're not supporting clean coal. Guess what?
Well, guess what, Senator? Your running mate thinks otherwise. Or was that just another empty campaign promise?
It is conceivable that we could adapt technologies that would make coal a credible source.
Now Senator Obama was put on the spot by Joe the Plumber over his income redistribution plan. This is one agenda that both Obama and Biden actually agree on.
We want to take money and put it back in the pocket of middle-class people.
Anybody making over $250,000 is going to pay more.
You got it. It's time to be patriotic, Kate.
Apparently, income redistribution is patriotic. So just what should we all be looking for when it comes to the man who is a heartbeat away from the presidency?
Well, reasons number 7 and number 6 coming up straight ahead.